어이구 맛있는 거 드시네. 나도 맛있는 거 좀 줘. 그거보다 우리 미셸 씨는 또 어디로 증발한겨? 저기 미셸 씨, 미셸 씨 여기 계시네.
Good evening, Michel. Am I bothering you? You seem stressed.
With everything that's going on, I must admit it's difficult to be relaxed.
Of course, I understand. Especially since we know that Detective Locke's tea was drugged before it was served to her.
Detective?
Come now, Michel. Surely you would have taken the opportunity to search her things and found her badge. Luckily, she woke up and was finally able to tell us her story.
Otaru boiled the water, Jean made the tea. I just brought it. Sir, it could have been any of the staff.
Your defense is to accuse others?
어?
You have a network connection?
No, unfortunately. It's just an automatic reminder to pay my rent. I always forget and my landlord complains.
Pierre Michel had to be involved.
저 그거잖아.
in
죽은
the
그 여자애.
drugged tea, his post at the end of the hall, and now I know why I know more than one of those people on the screen.
자, 왼쪽에 있는 사람의 정치.
Yes.
딴따단. 중간에 있는 사람 수잔 모로.
Right.
오른쪽.
Think.
야 잠깐.
No, not good.
사이러스 하드먼.
Fantastic.
판타스틱.
My little gray cells did not let me down. You are the father of Suzanne Moreau, Daisy Armstrong's nanny. My condolences on the death of your wife.
What? But my wife...
Enough lies. Suzanne does not bear your name?
No. Suzanne's mother and I were divorced. Suzanne kept her mother's name.
My most sincere
딸이었구나.
condolences, Monsieur Michel, on the deaths of Suzanne and your wife.
This job, I loved them, but I was never there for them. Then a year after the divorce, Solange became ill. Suzanne took her to this special hospital in the US. Got that job as Daisy's nanny.
I understand your pain and the reason that led you to drug Detective Locke.
We really can't hide anything from you, can we?
Many have been foolish enough to try and keep the truth from Hercule Poirot.
Yes, I admit, I drugged the tea. But it was only to keep her quiet until I could... But she reacted so much to the sleeping pills.
She was lucky, as are you, that she didn't die. To be frank, there is one more thing that puzzled me, but I think I understand now.
하드먼과 미셸은 잠깐만. 그럴 수 있지. 자, 하드먼은 미셸의 사위가 될 예정이었다.
Monsieur Hardman was Suzanne's fiancé.
Huh. I have the impression my whole life to you is an open book. Yes, Cyrus was my daughter's fiancé. I almost consider Cyrus as my own son.
Of course, much more is clear now. I have been patient long enough. It is time to go and see what all the commotion is next door.
옆방.
Monsieur Hardman, excellent. The gods who watch over detectives must have trapped you here.
Why didn't they watch over me? I'm a detective too. I was talking to Michelle about a leaky faucet, and I wanted to go out, but you showed up.
No need to invent some preposterous story.
But really,
Michel has told me everything. You are the fiancé of Suzanne Moreau, his daughter.
Oh. I see.
Surely this is not a big surprise to you.
No. Suzanne was the only woman I ever loved. And I failed her. We got into a spat. It was nothing, but I was too proud to apologize. We weren't speaking at all. Suzanne never really cared for that guy Noah. She would have forgiven me. If only... If only...
If only. A common refrain between lovers who quarrel. Obviously, Pierre Michel and Fräulein Schmidt both drugged Detective Locke's tea, causing the overdose.
그렇지.
No wonder she had so much trouble waking
자,
up.
이제
Time to
루크와
report my
모크에게
findings
소식
to
전달.
her and book.
슬슬 이야기가 마무리되겠구만. 뭐 이제 게임판만에 뭐 추가 스토리가 있지 않은 이상 슬슬 마무리가 될 것 같은데.
So, my friend, tell me, you have something new?
수면제.
Mademoiselle Locke, I know who drugged you. Fräulein Schmidt and our conductor Pierre Michel both admitted putting sleeping pills into your tea. This explains your overdose. They are relieved you are recovering.
Michel drugged a passenger? On behalf of the company, I offer my apologies to you, Mademoiselle Locke. Michel will answer for this outrage.
Both of them? I was pretty sure about Fräulein Schmidt, but I admit that I did not suspect the conductor.
암스트롱 사건.
I have uncovered multiple connections with the Armstrong case. Pierre Michel is the father of Suzanne Moreau, little Daisy's nanny, and Monsieur Hardman was Suzanne's fiancé. As for Hildegard Schmidt, she was the cook of the Armstrong family. What a coincidence, don't you think?
But it's incredible! What are the odds that so many people linked to that tragic affair ended up on the same train?
About the same as you winning the lottery.
의도를 가지고
I
탄 거
wasn't the
아니야.
officer who interviewed Fräulein Schmidt back then, so she couldn't recognize me here on the train. How could they know who I was?
There were other passengers who might have. Or she may have seen you when you visited the Armstrong home. It is now clear to me that some of the clues to this elaborate plot were staged for my benefit.
자, 원래 내게 흘리렸던 사실은 무엇일까? 자, 원래 이제 네치스를 전혀 제3의 인물이 이제 네치스를 죽인 후에 내리는 걸로 하려고 했는데 하필 차가 멈춰가지고
The murderer
열차가
boarded the train in Vinkovsky, killed Ratchet, and then left the train immediately.
How did you come to that possibility?
Monsieur Hardman told me about a short man with a high-pitched voice who threatened Ratchet. Imagine for a moment that this man, wearing a wagon-lit conductor's jacket, killed him while Michel was on the platform at Vinkovsky. This murderer then hid the conductor's jacket in Detective Locke's room, then fled before the train left.
Why choose Detective Locke's room?
Why, indeed. Let me re-explain from the beginning.
자, 열차는 자정에 빈 고부치부 부치역에서 멈춘다. 자, 그리고 살인자가 열차에 탑승한다. 그리고 레치스를 죽인다. 허버드의 객실로 나간다. 차에서 내리고 다시 탑승하고 잠깐만. 자, 여기
I do not
아니야?
think that's the right answer.
아 이게 뭐였다. 이게 제일 끝이겠지 그럼.
This is wrong.
어이,
But
어이.
I'm never far from the
이것도
truth.
아니야? 이거다. 여기.
That's the right answer.
Mon Dieu! Oui! That must be it! Everything fits so well!
It fits too well, my friend. Other clues lead to a second hypothesis, much more plausible.
다음 중 가장 신빙성이 높은 가설은? 자, 살인자는 여러 명이며 모두 암스트롱 사건과 연관된 사람들이다. 의시자야? 아까 어제 초반에 설마 다 뭐 아무튼 뭐 그런 너도 범인 얘도 범인 너도 범인 쟤도 범인 했었는데 말 그게 맞았다고.
The murderer from Vinkovsky was a fabrication to turn suspicion away from those on the train. They expected the investigation to be led by some small-town official who could easily be misled.
Mr. Poirot?
Detective Locke, forgive me. You are an obvious exception. You tracked Ratchet with the tenacity of a bloodhound. Unfortunately for the killers, they not only had you to deal with, but now they had, and I say this with all modesty, the world's greatest detective, Hercule Poirot, dropped into the midst of their meticulous planning.
Multiple murderers? Multiple detectives? Poirot, please take pity on me. Who is linked to this case and who is not?
My poor friend,
그런 건
I have
없어요.
gone speeding out of the station without you. I will continue.
자, 암스트롱 사건과 연관 있는 9명. 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱, 여덟, 아홉.
I do not think that's the right
아니었어?
answer.
설마 레치 같은 애도 포함인가? 아닌데. 2, 4, 6.
No, not good.
No.
I must admit,
한 명.
this
당연히 모리신 아닐 거고. 오스카렐리.
voilà.
짠짜잔짜.
Fraulein Schmidt, Pierre Michel, Monsieur Hardman, and Monsieur McQueen are all linked to the Armstrong case. I also know that Sonia Armstrong's sister and godmother, Countess Andreni and Princess Dragomirov, are on this train. And finally, Detective Locke discovered that Mr. Foscarelli was the Armstrong chauffeur.
If we add Detective Locke and Ratchet, of the 12 passengers in that coach, 9 have a connection with the Armstrong case. What next, Poirot? Or should I say, who next?
It is time to summon everyone.
Everyone? Even Dr. Constantine? The train crew other than Michel?
Dr. Constantine, yes. I will need him. But we don't want the others as witnesses.
I will see that their duties keep them occupied elsewhere.
Excellent. I have always thought this moment in a case is much like Rodin unveiling the thinker before a captivated audience. A work of art. Have you not felt that way, Detective?
No, Mr. Poirot. I'm happy just to slap the cuffs on him.
Well, there is some artistry in that as well, I suppose.
Where would you like the unveiling, Poirot? The lounge?
Perfect.
Then I will gather all the passengers in the lounge.
짜잔. 자, 이제 라운지 칸으로 가서 모두 다 거짓말이야, 다 거짓말이야. 한번 찍어보자. 자, 지금부터 움직이는 놈 다 범인이야. 안 움직여도 범인이야. 그냥 다 범인이야,
Monsieur
니들은.
Book, are the train crew locked in their quarters?
Yes, they are.
Then the stage is set for the final act. Ladies and gentlemen, I have gathered you together to hear my reconstruction of the murder of Samuel Edward Ratchet, also known as Cassetti. There is not one, but two possible solutions of the crime. I shall put them both before you, and I shall ask Monsieur Book and Dr. Constantine here to judge which solution is the correct one.
2 solutions?
Mr. Poirot, I am hardly qualified.
Nevertheless, your assistance is required. Now, you all know the facts of the case. Ratchet was found stabbed to death this morning. He was last known to be alive at 12:37 a.m. last night when he spoke to the wagon-lit conductor through the door. His watch was found to be badly dented, and it had stopped at 1:15. Dr. Constantine, who examined the body, puts the time of death as having occurred between midnight and 2 in the morning. At half an hour after midnight, as you all know, the train ran into a snowdrift. After that time, it was impossible for anyone to leave the train. So, here is my first theory. The enemy, as Ratchet expected, joined the train at Vinkovsky by the door left open by Captain Arbuthnot and Monsieur McQueen, who had just descended to the platform. He was equipped with a wagon-lit jacket, which he wore over his ordinary clothes, and a pass key which enabled him to gain access to Ratchet's compartment in spite of the doors being locked. Ratchet was under the influence of a sleeping draught. This man stabbed him with great ferocity, 12 wounds in all. He left the compartment through the communicating door to Madame Hubbard's compartment.
Yes, that's so. Scared me half out of my wits.
The murderer thrust the dagger he had used into Mrs. Hubbard's handbag in passing. Without knowing it, he lost a button of his uniform. Then he slipped out of the compartment and along the corridor. He put the uniform jacket into Detective Locke's suitcase to cast suspicion on her. And a few minutes later, dressed in his ordinary clothes, he left the train just before it started off again, using the same means for egress, the door near the dining car. That is the first hypothesis. But there's a second. For that, we must examine the motive for the crime. Why was Ratchet killed?
복수.
The motive is clear. Revenge, of course. Nothing was stolen, and we know that Ratchet had made many enemies. This was a premeditated crime, meticulously planned.
계획은 이스탄불에서 출발하기 몇 개월 전.
Since the kidnapping and death of little Daisy Armstrong, which traumatized many people close to the family. Even when the police concluded that it was Suzanne Moreau, questions remained. Detective Locke continued her investigation, as did others. They became convinced the truth lay elsewhere. We now know who the real murderer of Daisy is.
누가 데이지를 살해했을까? 레치.
It is clear now that Daisy's killer was Ratchet, also known as Cassetti and Michael Clark and how many other names. But of course, many of you have known this for a long time. It is obvious that the 12 stab wounds
한 명씩 돌아가면서 찔렀나?
Dr. Constantine's analysis revealed that some stab wounds appeared to have been caused by a right-handed attacker. Others indicated the knife wielder was left-handed. Some wounds were deep, more than one fatal, yet others were not much more than mere scratches. What can explain these discrepancies? This leads us to an obvious conclusion. They are symbolic.
뜨든 데이지의 나이.
Come now, Poirot.
아, 잠깐.
Daisy was 3 years old. Come now.
아야야야. 미국 배심원 단수.
12 stabs. 12! The same number as a trial jury in the United States. But not just a jury of 12 members condemning him to death, but 12 executioners as well. This self-appointed jury had meticulously planned for everything except
Snow.
snow. The avalanche that stopped us,
하필.
as well as the presence of not one but 2 detectives on the train. They had to improvise, to hastily add clues and false leads. The time on Ratchet's broken watch was deliberately set to conceal the true time of the crime. The conductor's
사장
jacket,
외투.
found in Detective Locke's suitcase, was put there only to cast suspicion upon her. This woman in a red kimono does not exist. I don't know which of the passengers it was. It does not really matter. It was just a performance, a charade to introduce another possible culprit to muddy the waters.
전자담배
The
X.
vial of vaping liquid incriminated Captain Arbuthnot. However, he had a solid alibi.
알리바이도 진짜
confirmed by
서로
Monsieur McQueen.
부둥부둥해가지고.
Impossible then to suspect him. All these false leads were intended for me. But I am Poirot. I understood the truth. We have a train full of suspects. It's time to identify who the real culprits are. Let's start with Detective Locke.
수면제를 마셨다.
Planting the conductor's jacket in her suitcase was an attempt to implicate Detective Locke, but she couldn't fake her drugged condition. Dr. Constantine can testify that the drugged tea incapacitated her for hours, and she had 2 relapses. Let us move on to Monsieur McQueen. When I told him about Cassetti, he looked very surprised that I managed to make the connection between him and the Armstrong case. He told me, "But I thought we had..." I think he meant, "You thought you didn't leave any real clues linking the murder to the Armstrong
그
kidnapping.
일부러
Moreover,
맥퀸이
you
그거
insisted that
저
Ratchet
기소로
did not
취업한
speak
것도
French
약간
when you knew
부모님
I
복수?
had heard a
부모님이
voice calling
검사였다잖아요.
out in French that was supposed to be
그런 것 때문이
Ratchet.
아니었을까?
You took some pleasure in leaving me false clues, I think. It was quite annoying. But you told me yourself that your father was the district attorney who handled the Armstrong case.
The case haunted my father. At first, he believed Suzanne Moreau had helped her boyfriend, Noah, to kidnap Daisy, even though there were questions that went unanswered, and a young policewoman refused to let it go. continuing to find discrepancies, but never enough to reopen the official investigation.
That police woman sits there. Her name is Joanna Locke.
Then tell him. Tell him how in the end my father believed you, how he resigned a job that he loved, racked with guilt that he may have let that monster go free. He died young. Broken.
아니 죽었어?
His faith in justice broken. That's what Ratchet did to him.
Thank you for your honesty, Monsieur McQueen. Your father is one more victim of the man who called himself Ratchet. Now, I will turn to Ratchet's valet, Monsieur Masterman. Ratchet sensed danger close to him and naturally wanted to stay awake. You gave him sleeping pills.
모두가
without
칼라로
his
이어져 있어.
knowledge. Once he was sound asleep, you could do what you had to do in peace.
Sir, I'll tell you the truth. I was Colonel Armstrong's adjutant in the war, sir.
또
And
이렇게?
afterwards, I was his valet in New York. I'm afraid I concealed the fact this morning. It was very wrong of me, sir, but I knew how suspicious it would look.
Is that all you have to say?
That's all, sir.
Now, to leave no suspicious stone unturned, let us move on to Monsieur Book.
What? Me? A suspicious stone?
아니요. 열차의 내 자리를 예약해줬다.
Book, my friend, of course you are not guilty. You did everything you could to get me on this train. What madness would cause you to ensure, and I speak with all modesty, that the best detective in the world could be present to witness your crime?
But doesn't our friendship count as well?
Most assuredly, but a murderer can wear all sorts of masks, including friendship. Let us consider our ever-efficient wagon-lit conducteur, Pierre Michel.
100%지.
No, that is his motive. I need real, tangible proof. Your admission that you drugged Detective Locke immediately incriminates you, but the murder could not have been possible without your very capable assistance. Your knowledge of train procedures made the murder possible, and your position in the corridor of the train allowed you to be the perfect alibi for several passengers. And your motive? Suzanne Moreau, Daisy Armstrong's poor nanny, who was wrongly accused and committed suicide, was your daughter.
C'est enfoiré. He got what he deserved. My poor daughter has finally been avenged. My Suzanne. My child.
Let's move on now to Monsieur Hardman, one of 3 detectives on this train. Monsieur Hardman, I think you are a real detective, but you were never hired by Ratchet. Your alibi was that you were watching the corridor to protect Ratchet, which, of course, you never did. You protected Pierre Michel.
사람이 진짜
However,
딴 건
we
몰라도
just saw
남한테
that
그거
his alibi
원한
doesn't hold
사고
up, so
살면
neither
힘들다니까
does
그만큼.
yours.
I don't know about the conductor.
Being Suzanne's fiancé, you had a substantial motive to punish Ratchet. You used your detective skills, just as Detective Locke did, to hunt him down and finally avenge the death of your beloved.
That's right, Mr. Poirot. I do have some detective skills.
I never doubted it. Now, Fraulein Schmidt, the lady's maid with the soul of a cook.
두둔.
Fräulein Schmidt, you told me of your remorse for drugging Detective Locke. I believe you are sincere. However, as the cook of the Armstrong family, you experienced the drama from within. The death of Daisy, then Sonia Armstrong, who died in childbirth, and finally, Suzanne and John Armstrong.
So much misfortune in that poor family. The death of this criminal is only justice.
Let us move on to Countess Andrény. I was impressed by the earnestness of her husband when he swore to me solemnly on his honor that his wife never left her compartment that night. Should I believe it? Even if it seems logical, it's more complicated than that. I believe Countess Andrény.
무죄.
Countess Andrény, being Sonia Armstrong's sister, you had every reason in the world to want to avenge her. But you were incapable of stabbing someone, even after what he had done to you and your family. The night of the crime, you simply took a sleeping pill. I appreciate the irony that nearby, Detective Locke was also in a drugged sleep. When you awoke, you thought the nightmare was over.
Rudolph?
Hush, my love. Hush.
Excellent transition. I was coming to you, Count Andrény.
내 취재 인상이 마음에 안 들었다. 안드레니 백작부인 대신 찔렀다.
12 people, a jury. This was very important
네,
to all of you.
PC판입니다.
If Countess Andrény did not stab Ratchet, someone had to take her place. And you, Count, the beloved husband. I've seen how fiercely you love and protect your wife.
Enough! I would do anything for Helena. Anything. Even that.
Yes, even that. Let's move on to Monsieur Foscarelli. Detective Locke found out that
암스트롱의
you
운전기사.
were the Armstrong chauffeur and that you planned to travel on the same train at the same time as Ratchet. That is what made her decide to obtain a ticket as well. Unfortunately, she could not prevent the murder. Have you lost your tongue, Mr. Foscarelli?
Oh, Daisy. She was the delight of the house. Tonio, she called me. And she would sit in the car and pretend to drive me.
And you, Mademoiselle Olson, a champion for the immigrants, a worthy calling. Mademoiselle Olson, you supported Madame Hubbard's story about her connecting door latch, a story that I later demonstrated to be impossible. So, you deliberately lied to me, and you also lied about Mademoiselle Debenham's whereabouts.
Enough! I can't take this anymore! I know what you want from me, Mr. Poirot. Very well. Here it is. She was my little Daisy, my angel, so patient. When I patched a scrape or took her temperature, that was my job. But she was so much more to me. She was a shining light in an ever-darkening world. I've tried to honor her by caring for children who have lost everything.
Thank you, Mademoiselle Olson. You too shed light on your part in this mystery. You were Daisy Armstrong's nurse. I will ask you no more questions. It is enough that you have admitted what I know to be the truth, and I understand. Let's move on. Dr. Constantine.
You suspect me? I know none of these people. I didn't know Ratchet either, and I've taken a solemn oath to help people, not murder them.
You are one of the few people in this room not to have any connection with the Armstrong case. Moreover, your alibi is confirmed by Monsieur Bouc, whom I would trust with my life.
That is very kindly said, my friend.
We now come to Mademoiselle Debenham and Captain Arbuthnot, whose relationship was not in doubt from the moment I inspected your room at the hotel.
You have a bloody nerve.
Indeed, I do.
We're getting married.
Congratulations. But I would rather talk about your relationship to John Armstrong.
그든 연인이었겠지. 아, 잠깐 아니지. 본인이 아니었을까? 같이 뭐 복무라도 했나 보지.
That happens to me a lot.
뭐 어렵게 생각하니.
Captain Arbuthnot, you served in the army with John Armstrong. What I don't understand is why a man your age is still a captain. One might expect you to be a colonel as well.
Ever fought in a war, Poirot?
It was war that first brought me to England.
Then you know what it's like. There's a shattering sound, and death, and mistakes, acting on intelligence that proved to be wrong. I sent a patrol to their death. Good men, brave men, wasted. John testified on my behalf at a court-martial. I'm not a colonel. I don't deserve to be, you bloody fool. But I'm also not in prison. John remained my best friend. Until
이렇게 좋은 사람도
you have my
진짜
story.
한 번에
Understand now?
그런 사건으로 얼마나 주변 사람들이 빡돌았겠어.
You're right, Mary. What you see in me, I don't understand.
Oh, Archie, I see in you what John saw.
Miss Debenham, I'm sorry.
My turn, is it?
I'm afraid so. And you have caused me quite a puzzlement. Your connection with the Armstrong family was not obvious. Then I remembered the job you currently hold.
데버넌과 암스트롱과의 관계. 사촌?
No, not good.
교사? 그래, 교사를 했으니까.
That was easy. You were the teacher of...
데이지 암스트롱.
No, she was the teacher of Countess Andrény. You were the teacher of Helena Andrény, whose maiden name was Helena Goldenberg before she married Count Andrény.
Yes, absolutely. Why lie to you? She was an excellent student.
Captain Arbuthnot. You had one of the strongest alibis, thanks to Mr. McQueen. But his testimony melted like a snowflake. There went your alibi. Poof! Unless you have another one. As for you, Mademoiselle Debenham, her close relationship with someone guilty in the case, even her motive, do not necessarily make her guilty. Mademoiselle Olsen was the only one who could confirm your alibi. I think you know where you stand.
Very good, Mr. Poirot. Are you satisfied?
I will be soon. Now I must turn to Sonia Armstrong's godmother, Princess Dragomirov. Princess Dragomirov, you weren't on my list of suspects at the start, given your social position.
I left my social position in a cold country.
Do you object to being addressed as Princess?
I deny people the opportunity. It makes a good story to tell their friends. It also guarantees a good table in the best restaurants.
Princess, there is also, forgive me, your extreme physical fragility.
It does not stop me when I must be strong.
Indeed. Of more importance, though, is the fact that you're the only left-handed person on the train.
난
And the
왼손잡이야.
single blow
갑자기 왜 이
ratchet
노래가?
from a left-handed person was very, forgive me, weak. Finally, I'm afraid I know the alibi that you shared with Fraulein Schmidt is false.
You have been very thorough, sir. I hope you will permit me to say we are much alike.
I am honored. Now it is time to end with Mrs. Hubbard, or should I say,
린다 아든.
Linda Arden. If Princess Dragomirov hadn't told me about her relationship with this famous actress, I might not have made the connection. But you are a great actress, madame. Your performance as a flighty, self-involved woman was superb. I never would have guessed something entirely different. As for what ties you to the Armstrong family, it is obvious. I must admit,
소니아의 어머니.
that was easy.
That was easy.
Mrs. Hubbard, you are the mother of Sonia Armstrong and Mrs. Andreni.
찔렀겠지. 자기 딸의 그 원수인데.
Madame Hubbard, you really are a remarkable actress. You put so much effort into your character and into staging the murder. I saw it as a perfect mosaic, each person playing his or her allotted part, so carefully arranged that if suspicion should fall on any one person, the evidence of one or more of the others would clear the accused person and confuse the issue. Everything was meticulously planned. But you hadn't expected that Detective Locke and I would be on this train, and the avalanche would block it on the night of the murder. You had to improvise. But again, improvisation would be another of your skills as an actress. So you came up with the story that the latch on the door that communicated with Ratchet's compartment was hidden by the handbag.
I always fancied myself in comedy parts. That slip about the sponge bag was silly. Shows you should always rehearse properly. You know all about it, Mr. Poirot. You're a very wonderful man, but even you can't quite imagine what it was like. That awful day, I was just crazy with grief. So were the servants. We decided then and there that the sentence of death that Ratchet had escaped had got to be carried out. There were 12 of us, or rather 11. Suzanne's father was over in France, of course. First, we thought we'd draw lots as to who should do it, but in the end we decided on this way. It was the driver, Antonio, who suggested it. Mary worked out all the details later with Hector McQueen. It took a long time to perfect our plan. We first had to track Ratchet down.
그래요. 또 11월이 됐네요. 11월은 내 생일 있는 달이지. 기대해도 되지.
Well, we managed that. Then we had a consultation with Suzanne's father. Captain Arbuthnot was very keen on having 12 of us. He seemed to think it made it more orderly. He didn't like the stabbing idea much. But he agreed that it did solve most of our difficulties. Well, Suzanne's father was willing. Suzanne had been his only child. We knew from Hector that Ratchet would be coming back from the east, sooner or later, by the Orient Express. With Pierre Michel actually working on that train, the chance was too good to be missed. My daughter's husband had to know, of course, and he insisted on coming on the train with her. Hector wrangled it so that Ratchet selected the right day for traveling when Michel would be on duty. And then, at the last minute, you came. For the rest of the story, you worked out everything, Mr. Poirot. You were right about all of us. What are you going to do about it? If it must all come out, can't you lay the blame upon me, and me only? I would have stabbed that man 12 times willingly. It wasn't only that he was responsible for my daughter's death, and her child's, and that of the other child who might have been alive and happy now. It was more than that. There had been other children kidnapped before Daisy, and there might be others in the future. Society had condemned him. We were only carrying out the sentence, but it's unnecessary to bring all these others into it. All these good, faithful souls.
엄청 어렵네.
You are a director of the company, Monsieur Book. What do you say?
In my opinion, Poirot, the first theory you put forward was the correct one. Decidedly so. I suggest that that is the solution we offer to the police. You agree, Doctor?
Certainly, I agree. As regards the medical evidence, I think that I made one or two fantastic suggestions.
같이 묻어준다고.
Then, having placed my solution before you, I have the honor to retire from the case.
자, 오리엔트 특급 열차 살인 사건 해결. 야, 엄청나구만. 딴딴 따라라라.
I'm sorry to wake you up in the middle of the night, Poirot, but it couldn't wait. There was a detail that bothered me in my preliminary autopsy of Ratchet's body. I went back to examine the body and I discovered a wound
또 하나
covered
있어?
by another. The blow I hadn't seen was delivered by a thinner, sharper blade. So there were not 12, but 13 stab wounds.
12 stabs for 12 jurors. It doesn't work with 13 wounds. The symmetry is destroyed.
It can't be one of the culprits who stabbed him twice?
Doctor, a different knife was used. There
Nani?
is only one explanation. Somehow, some way, there is a 13th murderer on this train. We must tell Book. The case is not solved.
원래 원작은 여기서 끝나야 되는 거 아니야? 뭐 또 있다고? 자, 오리엔트 특급 열차 2023년 12월 18일 오전 9시. 뭐요?
Please come in. Ah, Book. I see we are moving at last.
Yes. The way was finally cleared while we slept. If all goes well, we will arrive in Venice this evening. The train will be there for several hours for refueling and reprovisioning. What do we do with the 13th murderer? Do you have a lead?
I thought about it. There is one clue that was left aside in my investigation. The diary I found in Ratchet's safe mentioned an appointment in Venice. Someone with the initials A.W. He will never keep the appointment. But there should be enough time. I must try to keep that appointment for him.
오케이.
My little gray cells did not let.
따란. 아직 끝이 아니요. 원래 원작은 아까 거기서 끝이죠? 아닌가? 추가로 뭐가 추가된 것 같은데.
How would it look to the police if I asked a suspected murderer for we should let
이야기가 더 남았다니.
Doctor, a moment. Have you made arrangements for Ratchet's body?
Yes, it will be collected by the Italian authorities when we reach Venice. The autopsy will be performed there. However, there is something odd.
Oh?
Since the train is French, jurisdiction must be shared. When I told them you were already on the scene, they have both agreed to support your investigation until we reach Paris. Ratchet's compartment will be sealed until we arrive there. All of those who conspired to kill Ratchet are to be confined to the train until then as well.
So, thanks to you, I am the rope in a tug-of-war between two countries.
Oh, but I thought you would want to be in charge. And isn't it odd we continue on our journey with a trainload of people that police consider potential murderers?
Calm yourself, Doctor. It is not the first time I find myself in the middle. And to be honest, I welcome the chance to see this case through. It is fast becoming one of the most challenging of my career.
추가 스토리가 있을 줄이야. 헤이스팅스. 같이 베니스로 갑시다.
A question. Could you assist my investigation in Venice?
아니 이거 끝나고 딴 게임 하려고 그랬는데 이거
I'm to accompany
이거
Ratchet's body when the Italian police take possession of it. I've been asked, commanded really, to help with the autopsy because of my earlier examination.
So, my dear book, how does our journey progress?
We are well on our way to Venice. All of our passengers are locked in their rooms by order of the authorities.
가볍게 한두 시간 하면 끝낼 줄
They
알았더니
want to stretch their legs.
또 새로운 이야기 시작이라니.
Behind you.
I
엄청나군.
see that you have the situation well in hand.
같이 베니스로 가줄게.
Would you be able to accompany me to Venice to follow a lead?
I'm honored you asked me, my friend. I would have loved to help you. But I have to manage the situation
아, 이
here.
새끼 같이 가기 싫으니까 일부러
No one gets off the train in Venice, and that Ratchet's body is
이 녀석.
transferred.
I'm not going to ask a murderer to help me catch himself.
살인범이 아닌 친구를 찾아야 되는데 설마. 로크?
Mademoiselle Locke, you are clearly an excellent police officer. Could you accompany me to Venice for an investigation into Ratchet's activities? There is much we still need to know.
Well, yes, it would be an honor to work with you. And I'm glad you trust me. What do you have in mind?
There was a notation in Ratchet's appointment book. He had an appointment.
With who?
There were only the initials A.W. They were to meet at 10
네,
o'clock
안녕하세요.
at the Fontana dei Conigli. I want to know who Ratchet was meeting and why.
But you've already discovered the 12 conspirators. Why is this meeting important?
Unfortunately, the case is not
그래요.
complete.
갑자기 게임
Dr.
오리지널
Constantine
스토리가
has
시작되는 것 같은
discovered the presence
느낌이거든요.
of a 13th stab wound.
One of them could have stabbed him twice.
The wound was made with another, finer blade.
아
Why
그래요?
would one
재밌게
of
보셨으면
them
저야
have
감사하죠.
used
네,
two
여러분들이 많이
knives?
봐줘요.
Did they want
저도
to
돈 버니까.
confess they killed him more than the others? And if so, why bother to deny it when they have already confessed? No, it makes no sense. And I do not close a case until all questions have been answered. You, of all people, must understand this.
You're right. I do understand. I'll help you.
Thank you. Together, we will uncover the truth. We will
자 이렇게
arrive
저렴하게
in
보낼
hours.
수 있는
Take the opportunity to rest.
주스를
I slept well
얻었다.
last night. No more effects of the drug.
Excellent. Then be prepared when we reach Venice. We have another mystery to solve.
This is the third embarking dock, and no gondoliers available at all.
갑자기 어쌔신
With
크리드를
Carnival,
찍니?
you can't find a gondolier to cross that damn canal. They're all booked. The worst thing is
뭐
that
근데
the fountain is
지스타는
just
저
across
항상 안
this
가서 안
canal. We're almost
가가지고
there.
딱히. 네. 딴따다다다단.
I see a gondolier just over there.
베니스에서의 수상한 만남.
Show me how an American detective would handle this.
진짜 빨리 총 꺼내가지고 협박해. 빨리 배내놔. 안 그러면 너희들 총기 규제가 없는 국가의 위험을 보여주겠어. 뭐 이런 거지 뭐.
It's impossible to find a gondolier during Carnival.
딴따단따단. 저기 뽀빠이 친구 한 명 있구만. 가가지고 총기로 협박하자가. 야,
Hi there. We'd like to cross the canal, please.
There is a bridge about a kilometer down the canal.
Please. According to the map, the Fontana dei Conigli is just across the canal here.
No, I, Gabriele, cannot help you. I'm sorry.
We'll miss the 10 o'clock rendezvous if we try to get through this crowd, and have to walk a kilometer in both directions. Why is he refusing to take us across? He looks upset. I should try to find out why. If it's a matter of price, I'm sure we can work it out.
Money? Money won't help me now.
His problem isn't money. What is it then? Bella Chiara, the beautiful Chiara. A beautiful name for a beautiful gondola.
따단 따단 따단.
Ah, what a sham. A beautiful bouquet crushed by revelers.
곤돌라 사공의 문제. 여자친구와 싸웠다.
Excellent!
키아라.
Nice one.
아니,
That is a great
여자친구랑 잘 되든
detective
나발이든 건법으로 협박하고 건너게 하면 되잖아. 뭐 어렵게 생각해. 어이. 키아라.
I'm sorry you had a fight with Chiara.
What? How did you know?
I'm a detective. I'd like to help, if I can.
If you have a spare engagement ring, detective, I'll take it.
Ah, I see. You lost the engagement ring you were planning to give Chiara?
Lost? It is worse than that. I threw it away in the canal. I bitterly regret this gesture. I now find myself without a girlfriend and without a ring.
If we find the ring, maybe the
아니,
gondolier
운하에
will
던진
take
걸
us
어떻게
across.
You
찾아?
are right. There is not much time. I will help you.
어떻게 찾니? 따단. 아니, 축제를 떠나서 이제 물속에 던졌는데 뭐 어떻게 찾으라는 거지? 아니, 잠깐. 반지가 안 가라앉고 둥둥 떴어?
I know someone who'll be happy. There are too many plastic bottles in the world.
앞으로도 많을 거야.
I don't need an empty soda can.
Ancora una volta sono dalla parte spagliata
조용히 해.
del canale per la festa.
Sorry, I don't speak Italian.
벤지.
Excuse me. I believe I have something that belongs to you.
Mamma mia, grazie mille, signorina.
Mamma mia.
With this, I can now win my Chiara's heart again. I know it. How to thank you?
My friend and I need to get to the other side. We have a very important date at the Fontana di Conigli.
Ah, yes. The rabbit fountain. Of course, I'll take you across. Then I will call Chiara. Hopefully, she will forgive me.
I'm sure she will.
Well done, Detective Locke.
빨리 보내줘. 날 건너게 해줘.
This district of Venice is very charming. You will love it.
If it's not too much to ask, can you wait for us until we return?
Yes, no worries. I can call Chiara from here. To find the fountain, walk along the quay on the left, then cross the bridge and you are there. You cannot miss it.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you, signorina. You have made me the happiest gondolier in Venice. I fixed everything. Chiara, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. 분수를 찾아서 아니 열차에서 딱 하고 끝나는 줄 알았는데 뭐가 더 있다는 게 허허 가전제품 파격할리요.
The right time
말이
and the right
그렇다는
place.
거지.
Now AW
아,
just needs to show up.
뭐 회장님이 야구 좋아하시니까 또 어떨지 모르긴 하겠다. 되면.
Poirot does not run. I'll wait, sitting down.
AW 정치의 밝히기. 머쓱. Here's AW.
You have an
AW?
appointment, I believe.
I don't think so. I've never met you.
Did you
AW?
have an appointment here at the fountain?
Yes, to party.
너 AW? 아, 이 안에도 있어?
Nobody. The desk clerk must be asleep or off partying.
이 안에 길이 있었다니. 여기 AW.
If there's no one
방명록.
to help me, they won't mind if I help myself.
앤드류 라일리. 미국. 아지즈 와디.
Aziz Wadi. That's the only name that corresponds to the initials AW.
Paziente, non ti ho sentito. Posso aiutarla?
라 폰타나 데이 코넬리.
Hello. I'm looking for the Fontana dei Conigli. Do you know where it is?
Ah, it's right in front of the hotel. It's easy to recognize because of the rabbits.
Thank you. I had an appointment with someone, but I can't find him. I wondered if he might be staying in your hotel.
I can't help you unless you give me the name.
아지즈 와디.
I have an appointment with Mr. Aziz Wadi. Do you know if he's here?
Well, unfortunately, he left the hotel this morning.
Check out.
He seemed to be in a hurry, but he left a carta. You are?
레칫 부인.
I'm Mrs. Ratchet.
Mr. Wadi asked me to give the message to the signore, but I suppose this is okay.
자, 누가 늘 감시하는 것 같아서 약속 장소를 바꾸겠습니다. 앨리스는 분수에 앉아 흰 토끼 조각사를 바라보았습니다. 그런데 갑자기 토끼가 깡충 뛰어 사라지는 게 아니겠어요. 앨리스는 토끼를 쫓아갔습니다. 이번에도 앨리스를 따라가 볼까요? 좁디 좁은 골목을 지나 다리를 건넌 앨리스는 두 남자를 만났습니다. 남자들은 서로 자기 모자가 더 높다며 싸웠지요. 앨리스는 도로 좁은 골목길을 지나 작은 광장에 다다랐습니다. 광장에서는 고양이가 차를 마시고 있었죠. 장난꾸러기 고양이는 다른 골목으로 뛰어가 버렸고 앨리스는 고양이를 쫓아갔습니다. 숨을 헐떡거리며 도착한 곳은 넓은 광장이었습니다. 이곳엔 카드 병정들이 지내는 막사가 있었죠. 그런데 병정들이 앨리스 쪽으로 다가오는 게 아니겠어요. 앨리스는 뛰고 또 뛰어 부득끝자락에 도착했습니다. 그런데 고르곤의 얼굴이 달린 커다란 문은 나무를 이렇게 열리는 곳이었죠. 바로 앨리스가 여기에 오는 길에 모은 숫자를 전부 합해서 만든 나무였답니다. 개소리야. 아 진짜 오리지널 게임이라 오리지널 스토리가 있는 건 이해를 하겠는데.
Mademoiselle, was our mysterious A.W. here?
No, but I managed to get his name, Aziz Wadi, and a letter he wrote for Ratchet.
그건
It
이해를
seems to be a
하겠어, 근데.
kind of riddle rhyme.
Let me see. Well, Ratchet and Mr. Wadi must love this book to refer to it so much.
Yes, I think we have to search and find the tracks that this person left for Ratchet to find him.
I think so. Lead the way, Mademoiselle Locke. Do you need help, Detective Locke?
It looks like the writer of this letter is quoting Alice in Wonderland.
No, I think it is a pastiche. Monsieur Carroll was a much better writer than this.
It's a riddle. No, a map.
Both. I think Mr. Wadi was worried their business might be known and has given Ratchet directions to a new rendezvous point. Mr. Wadi's letter mentions a rabbit. The rabbit fountain is an obvious starting point. I believe the letter refers to this place.
자 일단 뭐 대충 초반 내용이 흰토끼가 뛰어서 간 곳에서 고르곤 4 아니 이걸 어떻게 입어가지고 찾냐. 되게 막 어디 벽면 같은데 숫자 있는 거 찾아가지고 그걸로 진행을 하라니까. 6 5 개야?
I did something wrong.
아, 나 이거 그냥 힌트 아마 있을 거야. 힌트 없잖아. 힌트 첫 번째 숫자는 토끼 분수에, 두 번째 숫자는 모자 가게, 세 번째 숫자는 고양이 바에. 분수에 숫자가 있었다고? 상상도 못했는데. 토끼 분수에 숫자가 있었다고? 있네. 씨. 와, 2 여기다. 모자하게 28 469 여기가 제일 끝인 건 확실한데. 오케이. 아 진짜 이거 너무한 거 아닙니까? 칼찌.
Hey, you.
Hey you. 칼찌.
I can't lose them.
쫓아가. 준내 못 뛰네. 괜찮아, 어쨌든 쫓아가. 흣. 아하. 아 박진감이 전혀 넘치지 않습니다. 어후. 단일의 박진감도 느낄 수 없는 환상적인 추격전. 그 옛날 용과 같이도 이 정도는 아니었지만 어쨌든 환상적이군요. 우후. 자, 자, 의자. 아차. 놓칠 것 같아 내가? 아차.
Move over.
아씨 놓쳤잖아. 아니 이럴 거면 이 클론 무장들.
Too many masks. The murderer could be standing there watching me and laughing.
Yes, Detective Locke?
The murderer got away. I'm coming back, but it looked like he dropped something when he climbed the first wall.
All right, I'll go and see. For my part, unfortunately, I could do nothing for the victim. He was already dead. I have already alerted the Italian authorities. I will see what I can find while I wait for them.
핵을 놓쳐버리다니. 어쨌든 범죄 현장은 분석해야죠. 돈.
There must be several tens of thousands of
나한테 좀
dollars
주세요.
in the bag.
저 돈 많이 필요해요. 아니,
A pair of women's
여성용 안경.
glasses. Was Ratchet planning a new identity? The victim was stabbed. Apparently the method of choice in this case.
아니 이것은
A bunch of keys.
열쇠 꾸러미.
If, as seems likely, Mr. Wadi is a resident of Geneva,
Geneva.
then one of these may belong to his home there. Various clothes in his suitcase. Mr. Wadi was obviously planning to leave this city.
이건 여권.
Mr. Wadi's Swiss passport. I'll see if I can find a match on the internet to confirm his identity.
여기.
That's the right answer.
또 다른 게 있나?
Another delightful trophy for my collection.
아 이거구나. 범인이 떨군 렛츠고?
A false passport
이조
with
여권?
Ratchet's picture. Clark, Ratchet. How many others? Now he will become Enrico Caldo. It appears Ratchet changed his identity as often as his socks.
배낭 속에도 암스트롱 사건의
This
몸값이었다.
appears to be a good lead.
I'm sorry I couldn't catch the suspect, Mr. Poirot.
There is no need to apologize, mademoiselle. Your efforts were marvelous.
아유,
I
의식의
found
이름님
some
15,000원 감사합니다.
information about Mr.
고마워요.
Waddy.
Did you access the FBI database?
Don't worry. My little grey cells were enough. However, the database may confirm the
추가
origin
스토리가
of these
있다니.
banknotes.
No need. I included them when I continued my investigation.
Excellent.
자, 달러 지폐 일련 번호를 조아나의 휴대폰 속 사진과 비교해보자. 아. 아이씨.
No, this. Come on, Joe. No, I did something wrong.
개빡 돌게 하네. 이거.
The detective gets it right.
이거.
That's it. No rookie mistake there.
이거.
That is a great detective job.
오케이.
Mr. Poirot, it's part of the ransom money from the Armstrong case.
You are surprised?
I suppose not. So Ratchet had it in an account at the Banque du Lac.
It would seem so. He knew the serial numbers on the banknotes could be traced, and he could not spend it. So he stashed it there.
원래 그래서 이런 거
Now he's
범죄
on
수익금은
low,
약간
something he
세탁 같은 거
didn't
고쳐야
count
되지
on. He
않나요?
hopes enough
네.
time has passed so he can begin to spend the ransom
보통
money.
그러죠.
There is something else he didn't count on.
What's that?
He didn't count on you, Detective Locke,
세탁.
and your tenacity.
Thank you. But we are still left with a murderer on the loose.
But we progress. We know Mr. Waddy had an appointment with Ratchet. He had a bag full of money and a passport with Ratchet's photo, but a new name. What is your opinion about the passport?
여권에 나온 신분을 내치되신 신분이다.
Maybe Waddy was blackmailing Ratchet because he had Ratchet's true identity in his possession.
Enrico Caldo. It is unlikely that this is his real name. He was a master of false identities.
But why didn't Waddy's murderer take all that money?
That is a good question.
돈이 아닌 다른 동기가 있었어.
The bag isn't very big. He could have easily run away with it. If he didn't take it, it was deliberate. He wasn't interested in the money. If the motive wasn't money, it leaves passion or revenge for motive.
So, Detective Locke, what do you think? Passion or revenge?
원한 살인이다.
Revenge seems like an obvious motive to me. The murderer carefully followed Waddy from the fountain to the new meeting place despite Waddy's precautions. That is cold and careful.
Excellent.
이건 아무튼 원장에는 없는 내용인 것 같은데 대체 뭘까?
That is a sound psychological analysis. We have an idea of the motive. It is the same motive as that of our 12 would-be murderers on the train. But we still must know who was under that mask.
레치의 살인범과 동일인.
I think Waddy's killer is also Ratchet's murderer. The motive for both deaths was
누굴까?
revenge, and both are related to the Armstrong case through the ransom money.
Exactly. So our murderer
Exactly.
is linked to the Armstrong case. The money is linked to the Armstrong case. But these glasses that I found in the bag, they must have something to do with this case too.
Wait, those glasses mean something to me.
이안경.
Wait, I know. I've seen
Suzanne
these.
Moreau
They
양경.
belong to Suzanne Moreau, little Daisy's nurse. I remember seeing them in her bedroom, but they were gone the day she died.
I remember the press saying that the nurse had committed suicide.
I've always believed otherwise, and the glasses are proof that she was killed by Ratchet. or his accomplice. He took those glasses. I always had a gut feeling, but now, Mr. Poirot, now I have proof Suzanne was innocent.
Yes, you do. But the question I ask myself is this. Why did Ratchet keep these glasses?
가짜 증거를 위해?
Ratchet used to leave fake evidence at the scene of his crimes to incriminate others. He did the same thing to frame Suzanne.
Possibly. But keeping an object belonging to his victim as a souvenir of the murder, that is the behavior of a fetishist.
Now that you mention it, in my investigation at the time, I had already found Daisy's hair clip in Ratchet's cabin, and now we find Suzanne's glasses in a bag for Ratchet.
2 objects from 2 victims of Ratchet. He is a trophy hunter.
Okay, we managed to clear up some of the gray areas. What now?
The bag only contained a fraction of the $1 million ransom of the Armstrong case. The rest must still be in a secure place. I will make a wager with you that it is the Banque du Lac in Geneva where Mr. Wadi worked.
Wadi was also the keeper of Ratchet's secrets. They were killed by the same murderer.
Agreed. Well, there is nothing more we can do here.
그래서 누군데? 열차에 타고 있던 사람일 거 아니야.
Prepare yourself for a long
그렇게밖에
evening
생각할
with
수
the
없지 않나?
police. We have a lot of explaining to do.
And after that?
누굴까?
A visit to Geneva, perhaps?
아니면 열차에 또 제3의 인물이 있었던 건가? 제13의 인물.
Here you are at last. I was worried about you.
We just left the police station. We had to explain to the Italian police that we were not murderers.
What? Another murder?
I'll tell you when we're underway. Are all passengers and staff aboard?
Yes, everyone is here. We were waiting for you.
Excellent. Let's not waste any more time. We have to make a longer than usual stop in Lausanne.
What? How long?
Long enough to do a little banking in Geneva.
도로론. 다시 열차를 타고
But this is madness. A 13th murderer of Ratchet?
Mon ami, he was not well liked.
But Monsieur Michel would have seen anyone enter Ratchet's compartment. And there were another 10 people milling about, taking their turn at stabbing him. How could they not notice an uninvited killer?
미셸은 왜 살인자를 보지 못했을까?
The 13th killer could have acted when Michel was smoking on the platform at Vinkovsky. But even after the train departed, Michel was absent from his post at the end of the corridor several times the night of the murder. I must know where he really was and when.
예.
Yes, he most certainly
있어야지 있어야 게임
How can
진행이
you be
되지.
sure?
It's obvious. I mean, I hope Mr. Poirot agrees.
Please continue, Detective Locke.
All the passengers and crew are still aboard. If the killer of Mr. Wadi had
딱
remained
바로
in
티나는
Venice,
거지.
we would
그래.
have noticed right away that someone was missing, and we could have alerted the authorities.
I promise you, I made certain everyone was aboard before we embarked.
Book, calm yourself.
Calm myself? But we're back where we started. There is still another murderer on my train. Wait a moment. Can I change my mind about my verdict? Can we turn everyone over to the police?
Everyone? Including ourselves?
What? No. No. Oh, it's a nightmare.
Let us take it step by step, my friend. We can start by eliminating all of the members of the Ratchet jury.
딴딴딴. 레치스의 배심원단. 오케이.
I'm right again.
그럼 이제 나머지 인물에서 찾아야 되는데
If
누굴까?
we eliminate the 12 jurors, we are left with
7명.
7 additional suspects.
7? It's still too many.
I agree. We must reduce our list.
Excuse my impatience, Poirot. It's as if my beautiful train is cursed. Can you exonerate any of the 7?
아니요.
Fantastic. Book worked hard to get me aboard the train. He is definitely not a suspect.
아니요.
Good.
사건에서 똑같이
Mademoiselle
있었고.
Locke cannot be a suspect. She pursued Mr. Waddy's murderer.
콘스탄틴 아니요.
Good job.
13번째 자상 있는 걸
alerted me
안 밝혔겠죠,
to the 13th
범인이면.
stab wound.
당연히.
He is not a suspect. Et voilà.
최소 3명, 4명
I
남았다.
have 4 suspects left who I must now examine more closely. Miss Nielsen, Monsieur Maury, Monsieur Fauché, and Countess Andrény.
One of my employees? Suspicious?
All 3 got off the train in Venice to restock supplies. Any one of them might have slipped away without being noticed.
I suppose. But what of Countess Andrény? You cleared her yourself.
She is cleared of the first murder, but we know little of her movements here in Venice. So, we still have 4 suspects to interview. Detective Locke?
I can't join you, Poirot. My chief saw something on the news about the case and my involvement. He's demanding an explanation. If I want to keep my badge, I have to call him.
Then you must do so by all means.
I'm sorry.
No need to apologize. I understand.
I'll make the call from my compartment. If you're looking for me, I'll be there.
I hate to say this, Poirot, but I must. There is, of course, one other suspect with a motive for murder. The ransom money.
You mean Detective Locke? Then who did she chase? Who killed Aziz? We both saw the masked murderer standing over the body.
자, 그럼 이제 아무튼 또 이제 추가로 용의선상에 올라간 사람들을 하나씩 또 신문을 해봐야죠. 네. 포쉐, 닐슨, 뭐 모리, 미셸, 네. 백작 부인까지. 잠깐 화장실 좀 갔다 올게요. 여기서 한번 쉬었다 합시다. 배고프다. 뭐 있나 먹을게. 아, 네, 감사합니다. 네. 자, 이제 또 한 명씩 또 신문해 봅시다.
Ah, Michel. I have a few more questions to ask you, if you will allow me.
Anything, Monsieur Poirot. We are in your debt.
레치시 살해된 날 밤의 한 일.
Let us review the actual timeline of the night of Ratchet's murder, not the one manufactured to hide your crime.
I left the train in Minkowski for a smoke. Then I resumed my post. That was the truth. The train departed on schedule. But then, of course, an avalanche of snow blocked the tracks. At 12:45, Madame Hubbard and I met in her compartment to discuss how to adapt our plan.
Due to the snow and Poirot.
The little play we had staged for you had to be rewritten. I left her compartment at approximately 1:15.
Then the curtain went up. Calls in the night, the red kimono, all for my benefit.
And all for nothing, as it turns out.
Do not blame yourself, Michel. I am the theater critic no playwright wants to see in the audience.
벨리스에서 뭘 했죠?
Please tell me your movements
이거요?
when we were stopped at
아마
Venice
이제
station.
스위치 버전 안
Once the
나왔던 것
compartments
같은데.
were cleaned and the linen refreshed, I stayed in my quarters.
Did you notice anything special? Comings and goings?
Monsieur Bouc had asked everyone to stay in their compartments. I would occasionally walk the train to ensure everyone was comfortable. Oh, I saw Monsieur Maury was all alone loading his crates of provisions. A great chef like that, reduced to petty labor, I would have helped him. But Monsieur Bouc had ordered me not to leave the train for any reason. So, Monsieur Maury was forced to
나왔나?
labor alone.
잠시만요. 아마 나왔으면 다운로드로만 나오긴 했을 거예요.
You play
Oh,
well.
push
I
it.
didn't mean to interrupt you.
Thank you. Many years of piano lessons thanks to my mother. I try to play in a few clubs in Paris when I get the chance. But as you
국내에는
can see,
출시가 안 된
it
것
hasn't
같은데
made me rich.
스위치 버전은.
What can I do for you?
Conversation only.
베니스에서 뭘 하고 있었지?
Tell me about your time in Venice.
I had Monsieur Bouc's permission to see my sister. She lives in Marghera, just outside of Venice. She had a baby a few weeks ago. This was my first
네,
chance to meet my
국내에서는
new
이제
Monsieur Bouc gave you
엑스박스
permission?
버전이랑
Yes, you
PC
can ask
버전만 나온 것
Most
같아요.
assuredly, I will. What time did you leave and when did you
다운로드로만.
return?
I left around 9-10 p.m. I was back by 10:45 p.m. When I got back, Hotaru was in a lot of pain. I gave him a back massage.
That
운전
would
누웠다고.
have been enough time to kill Monsieur Wadi and return to the train.
칼을 보고 싶구만.
May I see your knives?
Of course, they are here.
If you don't mind.
Help yourself. They are under the bar counter.
레치시 살해된 날 밤의 한일.
Tell me again about your poker game the night of the murder.
It's a regular game to help relax after a long day. Let's see, we started around 11 p.m. We took a short break in Vinkovsky. Hotaru, Pierre, and I. The game finished up around 2 a.m. We'd all had quite a bit to drink. Ah, yes. I left for about 10 minutes to refrigerate champagne for the next day. That must have been around 1 a.m.
뭔가 포시에가 의심스럽긴 한데 카운터에 칼이 있다 그랬지.
None of these come close to the wounds on either body.
또 없나? 그럼 이제 요리사들. 하이. 요리사니까 칼 다루긴 쉬울
Good
것
evening,
같은데.
Monsieur Maury. May I have a moment of your time? I have a few questions to ask you.
Of course, as long as you don't mind if dinner is ruined.
I promise to be as brief as possible. What did you do while we were stuck
있나요?
in Venice?
With
뭐지 왜 나
Freya's
뭉쳐졌지?
help, I loaded fresh produce for the next part of a
그러니까
job.
이제
Then,
버전은
you
수치
may
버전이
not
나왔는데
believe
이제 국내에서 구매를 할 수
my
있는 염려가
job
또 다르니까.
requires a lot of physical labor. My back suffers. Fortunately, John has become quite adept at separating my vertebrae.
칼을 보고 싶군요.
As you may know, I have solved the murder of Monsieur Ratchet.
That is a shame.
I beg your pardon.
아쉽다고?
The bastard sent my steak tartar back, telling John I was to burn it.
I will add it to the list of his crimes. One wound on Monsieur Ratchet's body was struck by a very sharp, thin-bladed knife. We haven't found it yet.
You think one of mine was used?
I'd like to have a look if you don't mind.
In that drawer.
An impressive set of
화려하다.
knives. But their blades are too wide to have been used for the crime. Tell me about your poker game the night of the murder.
We started around 11 p.m. When John finished his shift. We played until around 2 a.m. From what I remember, it's a bit vague.
You played without a break.
Actually, we did break once for a smoke. John, Pierre, and I. When we stopped in Vinkovsky.
When was that?
Around midnight.
Tell me about...
We started with John around...
자, 또 한 명.
Saffron. It must be
Saffron.
worth a small fortune.
너무 고생하셨습니다. 오늘 또. 아이, 게임 오리지널 스토리가 있어가지고 길어진다. 그래도 오늘은 끝내야 되는데. 아, 그래요?
The box is secured by some sort of locking mechanism. The design is formed by 3 commas. What is the word in Japanese? Tamoe. And it's obviously
Tomoe?
missing a piece. The box is the Tamoe. And it's obviously missing a piece.
이 한 조각을 찾아라. 한 조? 아, 고구마 소주요? 맛있겠네요.
Good evening,
너무 과감하진
Mr.
마시고.
Nielsen. May I talk to you for a moment?
Of course, Mr. Poirot. I'm not going to bed right away.
Can you tell me your movements while we were stopped in Venice?
아,
that'll
진짜
be easy.
저번에 술 먹방
I
하는
didn't
거
move much at all.
정신을 못
Let's see.
차리겠다.
I
어제
helped
진짜 거의
Wataru
죽어
load all
있었어.
of the food crates aboard the train.
6시까지.
Wataru had everything he needed, but I realized
거의 이
they
시간까지
forgot
진짜
half of my order. I
이러고
spent
있었어요.
over an hour on the phone with the supplier without success. I had to change the dessert menu for tomorrow.
Dr. Constantine found a stab wound on Ratchet's body that was caused by a much thinner and sharper blade than the others.
Possibly a chef's knife?
My thought precisely.
And you'd like to see my knives?
If you wouldn't mind.
I would gladly show you if I had any, but I don't.
요즘같이
I use the
엔저인
regular kitchen
시기에
knives. You
가는
may
것도
search
나쁘지
if you don't
않죠.
believe me.
I see.
All the knives the staff use are in the
저도
kitchen
친구가
and
에나도
lounge,
싼데
except
한번 갔다 오라고 하던데.
Except
Wataru prefers to use his own.
Monsieur Mori doesn't use the kitchen knives.
Not usually. I know he keeps a set of traditional Japanese
전통
knives in a box
사시미?
in his room. He doesn't let anyone else use them. Although now that I think of it, he has been using the kitchen knives lately.
뭔가 모리 씨가
Can you tell me exactly about your poker game the night of the murder?
We started around 11 p.m. In Vinkovsky, we took a short break. Wataru and Pierre went outside to smoke. Oh, and
요즘에는
Wataru got
외국에서
sick
문자로
around
깜짝이야.
a few minutes past 1 a.m.
외국에서
1,
문자로
10 a.m.
연락이 안 돼요.
spent
함께한
about
시간이
15
그리요.
minutes in
추가
the bathroom.
해외에서
But
나한테
he
이런
won't
문자를
wait
보낸 사람이 없는데 뭔
Did his
소리야
luck
이거.
improve?
No.
라인
he
아이디
played
추가해야
till
될라네.
around 2 a.m. He lost every hand.
참나. 생전 라인을 쓴 적이 없구만. 별.
Golden moustache.
별 희한한 소리. 이놈의 보이스피싱도 점점 진화해 가나봐. 아니 최근 신정과 함께한 사람이 없다고. 내일 하느라 바빴다고. 그나 썸을 한번 탄 사람이 없는 인간한테. 자, 일단 백작 부인 먼저. 또 주무시나? 자꾸 왜 그러신데?
Doctor, I need to question Countess Andrény.
I'm afraid that won't be possible, Mr. Poirot. The Countess had an anxiety attack when we arrived in Venice. She was terrified the police would come for her and her husband, despite how you concluded your investigation. I had to give her a sedative.
그 농당 따먹기도 안 하는 게 좋아요. 네.
You have stayed
그
with
번호로
her
이제
all the
해코치
time
들어오는
you
수가
were in Venice.
있어가지고 그냥
Count and Drake
끊어버리는
begged
게
me to watch
베스트인 것
over
같아.
her. I have not left this room.
괜히 이제 긁지
You're the
말고.
reason she's in this state.
Book voted to absolve you all. I accepted his verdict.
I told her. I tried to reason with her. What she has already suffered, the strain of these last few days, it was too much.
I understand, Count. It's quite all right. I have the answers I came for.
신문을 알 수 있는 상태가 아니구만.
You can never have too many of these.
무슨 에코지를 하려고? 그거 좀 되지 않았나요? 뭐든지. 근데 이제 뉴스만 보시는 분들도 있으니까 인터넷 안 보시고.
You told Fauché he could go into Venice?
Marghera, actually. Not so far away. It was his only chance to see his sister. He's been working every trade for weeks. There is never time to see the new baby.
Enough, Book. Your heart does you credit, but your common
안녕하세요.
sense...
I know. But it's fine. Isn't it? He did come back.
Oh, it's fine, as you say. Unless he saw the baby, then killed someone else and returned to the train.
But that's monstrous.
Murder is always monstrous, my friend. I've talked to everyone, but some elements of the testimonies do not seem to correspond. I need to recheck a few things.
우리의 칼 살펴보기.
I do not think that's the right answer.
들은
I must admit I'm not right this time. Think, Poirot. That is not a good answer. Any of the three staff members
세
had
명
the
다.
opportunity to kill Ratchet when Monsieur Michel wasn't watching the hallway. That was easy.
일단 또 모리의 칼을 살펴봐야 되는데. 모리 오모리 씨.
Remind me of what you did when the train stopped in Venice.
No problem. I helped Hotaru load all of the food crates aboard the train. Hotaru had everything he needed, but I realized they forgot half of my order. I spent over an hour on the phone with the supplier, without success. I had to change the dessert menu for tomorrow.
Oh, the truth cannot hide from Poirot forever. She may be telling the truth, but I cannot be
정신 차려.
Mademoiselle, I believe you're hiding the truth from me.
What makes you say that?
Monsieur Mori was loading crates of food on the train.
Yes, I helped him. You can ask him yourself.
It's true. Monsieur Mori told me that Miss Nielsen did help him. Monsieur Fauché did not see you helping Monsieur Mori.
He couldn't have. He wasn't there.
Indeed, Monsieur Fauché did not mention seeing Miss Nielsen or Monsieur Mori. Michel saw Monsieur Mori carrying the crates of food alone. You weren't on the platform.
I did help Hotaru.
The entire time? He carried so many crates, his back was sore.
Ah, I'm sorry about that. Okay, I'm guilty. I did leave him before we were finished. But I had to. There was no saffron he needed for a recipe. I volunteered to go into Venice and get him some. The Rialto market would be open late because of the carnival. He gave me money. I knew we weren't supposed to leave the train, but I only wanted to help. Mr. Mori can confirm this. Ask him. I saved dinner.
On behalf of my palate, I thank you. How long were you gone?
I left at 9:10 p.m. and was back with the saffron around 11. That's when I called my supplier for the items I was missing.
Miss Nielsen had almost 2 hours to buy the saffron, find a costume, kill Monsieur Wadi, elude Detective Locke, and make it back to the train for that phone call. Yes, it's possible that was enough time. Thank you, Mademoiselle Nielsen. That is all for now.
Sorry again, Mr. Poirot. I hope you enjoyed tonight's dessert.
예순에게 발로나기. 아무리 봐도 어떻게 불 빼는지 모르겠는데. 아. 아. 아니야? 다 나왔잖아.
An object that looks like a broken.
Ooh!
It must be part of something else. An
마가타마. 돌려! 이거 충분히 흉기가 될 수 있겠어.
Colteria Venezia.
베네지아.
Sushi knife.
Sushi knife.
Razor sharp. Sushi knife.
Sushi knife. 이탈리아 주행인이 만든 사시미 칼보거나.
I'm sorry, Monsieur Mori, but haven't you forgotten something?
이것이 이탈리아의
You haven't
사시미다.
told me about the knives hidden in your room.
Ha! Yes, indeed. I forgot to tell you about those. They are my personal knives. I only use these knives. There are none better. I bought them all in Japan. No one is allowed to touch them except me.
I'm afraid you
베네치아에서 산 것도 있었잖아요.
What?
자, 순순히 인정하세요.
One of the knives has an inscription Coltelleria Venezia.
죽을
Did you
때입니다.
happen to go shopping tonight, monsieur?
Damn you, Poirot. Very well. One of my sushi knives has been missing since the night of the murder. I thought you were going to believe I killed Ratchet. He routinely sent back my dishes to be ruined. Why does God give rich people the money to afford the best cuisine, but not the palate to appreciate it? I panic. I know a very good store in Venice. I went to buy a knife to replace the one that had gone missing, so I wouldn't be accused. I assure you that I had nothing to do with any murders.
I would have an easier time believing you, monsieur, if you put that knife down.
Oh, yes, of course. Sorry.
What time did you leave on your little shopping trip?
I left around 9:30 p.m. I was back a little after 11:15 p.m.
Time enough to stab Monsieur Wadi and return. Very well, Monsieur Mori. That's all for now. If I have another question...
I'll be right here, cooking.
자, 와디는 살인에 대한 알리바이가 없는 사람은 누구일까?
No.
포시.
I do.
아니.
I must
아니,
admit,
닐슨.
I
아!
don't-
다 틀리지, 어떡해.
This is
닐슨.
wrong.
어? 세 명.
That's the right answer.
세 명 다. 피아노를 즐겨주라 하다니. 아, 근데 나도 이런 여객열차 같은 데서 한번 알바까지는 아니더라도 직원으로 한 달 정도 그 사람들 보면서 일로 하면 빡치겠지. 여행으로야 이런 건 이제 즐거운 거지. 뒷박이겠지, 일로 하면. 항상 그렇지만 서비스업만큼 사람 꿀받는 게 없다니까. 몸이 힘든 건 버틸 수 있지만 사람 힘든 건 진짜 버티기 힘들어. 아무리 멘탈이 좋아도. 사람하고 상대할 때 사람적 거지 같은 건 진짜. 일이 힘들면 그냥 일 힘들고 그냥 욕하고 마는데
I am completely in the dark.
I will shine some light on the situation, my friend. I have 3 new suspects who could have killed Ratchet and Monsieur Wadi. Miss Nielsen, Monsieur Fauché, and Monsieur Maury. They all had periods of time during both murders to commit the deed, and their alibis are weak. A visit to family, and not 1, but 2 shopping trips.
But all are my employees.
Alas, yes, my dear book. But we have no proof against any of them. None of the 3 appears to have any motive whatsoever.
But this is a tragedy.
Do not give up hope. We will catch this murderer. There is still one place that may hold the evidence we need.
Geneva.
Exact.
Do not give up hope? Well, that's easy for you to say. But what if it's Freya? What becomes of dessert? If it's Sotaru, who will cook? Me? And the worst, if it's Jean, who will serve the drinks?
I've been checking up on the Banque du Lac. I had to confirm my identity for Interpol, so they contacted my captain at the Berkshire Police.
I suspect he was not pleased.
That my vacation was actually an unofficial investigation? I'll say.
I would be happy to speak to him on your behalf.
Thank you, but he'll get over it. It's a chance to close the books on the Armstrong kidnapping. He stopped yelling, asked for a report, then granted me an extra week.
Excellent. What did you learn from Interpol about the Banque du Lac?
It's had a bad reputation for over a century. Customers have included the mafia, Nazis, corporate swindlers,
갑자기
every
나치?
description, even heads of state.
그런데
Through this, it is the worst kept
레치는 사실 히틀러의 비밀
taking
비자금을
advantage of the
세탁하던
bank's
인간이었던
strict
것이 뭔
policy
소리야?
of protecting the anonymity of its clients. This is in defiance of many laws from multiple countries, including Switzerland itself. Of course, I have never taken advantage of such a corrupt system.
That goes without saying, my friend.
There are ongoing investigations, subpoenas, court orders. The bank will eventually have to comply, or its assets may be seized. But until then, it still thrives, thanks to its wealthy and powerful clients.
It sounds perfect for the late Monsieur Ratchet. Do you have any ideas?
The serial numbers from some of the bills match those from the Armstrong kidnapping. We agreed in Venice that the bulk of the money must still be physically in the bank's vault.
I concur, Detective Locke. Exemplary work. So, our next task is clear. We need to get into Ratchet's safety deposit box.
There'll be codes, passwords.
And Monsieur Wadi would, of course, have known them all. The bag of money he carried is proof of that.
We'll need to find information about Ratchet's box in Wadi's office at the bank.
Most assuredly, but remember the secrecy involved. I doubt his office will contain all we need. Where else must we dig?
자, 레치스의 안전공고 정보를 어디서 알아내야 될까?
Think, wow, there was nothing. Mr. Mac.
와디 아파트. 아, 또 다른 지역가? 아니, 그냥 대충 아니.
Mr. Wadi
생각보다
couldn't
추가
keep
스토리가
all of
기네
his
이거.
secrets at the bank. Hopefully we'll find something in his apartment. We already have his address thanks to his passport, and his keys we retrieved from his body.
The train stops in Lausanne at 8 a.m. But that's far from Geneva. I can delay the departure until 11 a.m. No later. The police are expecting us in Paris by the end of the afternoon at the latest. They won't tolerate any delay.
The bank doesn't open until 9. I can see only one way that gives us a chance to be on time.
배!
Ferries travel between Lausanne and Geneva.
아, 택시, 그래,
but
택시
it
타.
will take over 3 hours. We can't depend on finding a faster boat. Better to take a taxi and pray traffic is light.
함께 갈라져서 수색.
The best thing is to separate. One of us searches his apartment, the other searches his office. To access the safety deposit box, we need to find the key, the box number, and the passcode.
Suppose you find all this. How do you plan to get into the vault?
레치 사칭하기.
We are going to use the bank's anonymity policy to our advantage.
And the quickest way is for you to impersonate Ratchet.
I would rather impersonate Jack the Ripper, but in the interest of justice, I will do it.
We need to find the account number.
Along with everything else.
I will say I want access to the vault. They don't ask for papers or even names. The vault information is enough.
I'm not hearing any of this. I run a train company. I don't rob banks.
Perfect. Let's recap the plan.
자, 일단 택시를 타고 지네바로 간다. 그리고 갈라진다. 레치스 4층에서 와디의 사무실과 아파트, 레치스의 안전금고 수색하고 금고정보 찾고. 잠깐만.
I must have... No.
어? 마지막에 은행에서 만나는 거 맞는가? 은행에서 만나서 이거구나.
Et voilà.
To sum up, we're going by taxi to Geneva. Then we'll split up. You're going to search Mr. Wadi's apartment. I'll search the office at the bank. When we have all the information we need, you pretend to be Ratchet, and we can finally find out what Ratchet is keeping hidden in his safety deposit box.
It sounds impossible.
Not for Detective Joanna Locke and Hercule Poirot.
We should get some rest.
You are right, Detective. We face our greatest challenge tomorrow. Together.
Dun, 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 dun.
9 o'clock. Our driver did well. It took barely an hour to get here from Lausanne.
But we must conclude our business
아시야, 그래도
in
택시로
1
1시간
hour.
걸렸으면
Book can
배로
only
3시간
hold
거리
the train
겁나
until
쏜 거 아니야?
11 o'clock.
1 hour to find the key of
기사님한테
Ratchet's
감사
safety
좀 하시고
deposit
일단.
box, the box number, and its passcode. A lot to ask.
Indeed, which is why we must split our forces. I will take the cab to Monsieur Wadi's address. You must search his office.
I have you on speed dial. And thank you, Mr. Poirot,
For what, mademoiselle?
for trusting me.
따라란.
You
와디와
there.
미키.
I have an appointment with Mr. Wadi.
Let me check. I'm sorry, I don't see any appointments this morning at all. Mr. Wadi hasn't even arrived yet. Although he should be here by now.
익명의 국.
Even though your customers are anonymous, considering the amount of money involved, you should still have a mention of a meeting.
Yes, I can't understand it. I'll be sure to ask Mr. Wadi when he arrives. In the meantime, you are more than welcome to wait in his office. I'll see you're not disturbed. Please follow me. I can't understand where Mr. Wadi might be.
Dun, dun, dun.
You're right. I don't have much time at all.
레치스의 금고.
It's closed.
이상한 나라의 앨리스.
Again. Mr. Wadi seems to have really liked this book. A souvenir tower of Babel. Makes sense. We know that Mr. Wadi is from Iraq, and the ancient tower is said to have been built there.
이 탑 모양 같은 게 어디 있을 텐데. 레시신가?
Locked. I need the password. Maybe Poirot can help me. I've earned a gold mustache. It's closed.
Dun dun dun.
I'm taking a picture of it. I'll send it to Poirot. It might be useful to him. I managed to get into Wadi's office. I did a quick preliminary search. Everything is locked, including his computer. All I could find was a photo with a date on it. I just sent it to you. Maybe you can use it.
Thank you. That might help. I've just arrived at the apartment. I'll call you when I find something.
As quick as you can. I can't stay here long.
자, 과연
This is definitely not Monsieur Wadi's apartment.
Wadi.
Here we are. Let's see if the key I picked up in Monsieur Wadi's luggage in Venice will open his door.
No.
Great.
Great. 이제 이 집은 제 겁니다. 또 앨리스? 광란에 다가올 뭐지? 뭔가 더 있는데. 스타트.
This computer won't
컴퓨터가
give up its secrets easily. A Swiss and Arabic keyboard.
핫. (88초) 잠깐만. 비밀번호? 새 비밀번호는 88쪽, 92쪽, 94쪽, 96쪽, 98쪽.
The key to the password is close. I can feel it.
너 누군데?
Who are you? What are you doing in there?
I am Hercule Poirot. I am working with the police. You are Monsieur Wadi's neighbor?
Yes, next door. I heard a noise. I thought it was Mr. Wadi who had come home. I don't know him very well. A delivery man left a package for him with me.
됐지.
You don't know your neighbor very well.
Yes, what of it?
How is it that Monsieur Wadi has a picture of you on his desk? There is quite a family resemblance. You wouldn't be his brother by any chance?
Why are you going through his things?
As I told you, I am working with the police.
All right, yes. I'm his brother. Mehdi Wadi. You know where he
메디와디
is?
죽었어.
I am very sorry, sir, but I have some terrible news for you. Your brother
이 형 미국 갔어.
has been murdered. You have my sincere condolences.
Oh no. Aziz. My wife. My son. Their hearts will break. Everything he did was for his family. He brought us here from Iraq to give my son a better future. We can't go back. You won't. You won't.
Do not fret, Monsieur Wadi. I do not want to cause trouble for you and your family. I am here to catch his murderer. When did you last see your brother?
2 days ago. He
Venice,
was on his way
그래.
to Venice. It was not a journey he was looking forward to. I knew something was wrong, but he promised all would be well soon. My son will be heartbroken. Aziz made a point of reading to Fadi every night so he could learn English. We hope to legally emigrate there one day.
Your son, Fadi. What did Monsieur Wadi read to him?
His favorite book is Alice in Wonderland. The nonsense of it all. Why?
It is the answer to a question I had. I believe your brother was a good man, forced for some reason to keep secrets, and that got him killed.
Sir, there is something else. Aziz left me a letter to open if anything should happen to him.
Could you show it to me?
Yes, I will get it.
동생아 레치시라는 남자가 은행에서 찾아와 나한테 불법적인 일들을 시켰어. 너랑 너희 가족들을 죽이겠다고 협박하면서 가족을. 메어디, 만약 내가 참혹한 시신으로 발견된다면 이 사람 짓이니까 경찰에 익명으로 신고해줘. 자, 레치스의 안전 금고 정보도 같이 넘기고 계좌번호는 82664야. 그 다음엔 경찰이 알아서 할 거야. 잘 있어 내 동생. 아이샤랑 파디한테 사랑한다고 전해줘. 모두 행복하기를 바라며. 아 진짜가. 나쁜 사람이었지만 뭐 엄청 그래도 자기 가족한테는 잘하는 사람이었구만.
But to Ratchet, it would be just business as usual. At least I have Ratchet's account number, 82664. Thank you for giving me this letter. Let me assure you, the man Ratchet cannot harm you. He was killed before your brother was.
Really? Who did it? The one you say hunted Ratchet?
Yes, without a doubt. I promise you I will find them.
Sir, we have no papers. The police...
Your secret is safe with me, monsieur.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Now, I must go to my wife and son. Tonight, I will read to Fadi from Alice in Wonderland, and we will remember my brother.
I need to notify Mademoiselle Locke that I have Ratchet's bank account number.
딴딴딴. 이거 뭐 88페이지 3 39 짜자자잔 어이 숫자가 없는데 또 여긴 여기대로
Staring at the clock won't help, Poirot. This could be the password to Monsieur Wadi's office computer.
아니 왜 이렇게 많아 뭐가?
Change it every month. It seems to have a logical sequence, but I need to find the one for December.
삼, 6, 1, 0, 7, 0 3, 6, 1, 0, 7, 0 모르겠는데.
This is wrong. But
어우 문제 어렵다.
far from the truth.
너무 어렵다. 일단 힌트. 그래 알아 그건 안다고. 사선으로 숫자를 사선으로 읽어야 된다고. 3, 4, 5 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9 1, 2, 3, 4 0, 1 2 3 9 1 5193
If that's the password to the computer in Monsieur Wadi's office, we still need to translate the Arabic characters. And there weren't any Arabic characters on the office computer's keyboard. We need to find out which keys these Arabic characters correspond to on a Swiss keyboard with its Latin characters like the one in Monsieur
신나게 놀아요
Wadi's
님
office.
4개월 구독 감사합니다.
That was easy.
까버려. 쉬운도 쉽지 않은 쉬운도 사람 꼴받게 하는.
Staring at the clock won't help. Wow. This keyboard should help me translate this code.
와라 문자는 아무리 봐도 헷갈려. C A 눈이 P A F E
I must admit I'm not right this time.
C가 아니구나. R이구나. 점이 하나 찍힌 거 가지고 완전 달라지네.
Arabic is read from right to left, so the password must surely be read that way too. With any luck, this will unlock the computer in Monsieur Wadi's office. Let me text it to Miss Locke. That's the right answer.
대단하긴. 그야말로 개빡
Staring at the
들어왔는데.
clock, what? A bizarre endgame to be sure, but I suspect checkmate is possible for white in 3 moves. Let's see.
체스판 설치. 셋으로 체크메이트 하기. 나 체스 몰라요. 미쳤어요? 나 모른다고. 내가 체스도 알아야 돼? 이건 힌트 볼게요. 나 몰라. C6
Yes.
자 다음 C8 아니 체스를 모르는데 C7.
Brilliant. That was easy.
That was easy. (88) (91) (94) (96) (98) 이걸 뭐라는 건데. 아까 88. 아니야. 힌트 좀 알려줘봐. 아 그래, 쿠판 뒤졌잖아. 뒤졌어. 본문에 숫자가 있어. 아, 사무실에는 심판 참고해야 돼. 자, 바꿔봐.
I texted Ratchet's account number to you.
Wonderful.
Did you receive my text? This must be the password to Mr. Wadi's computer.
I have it. Thank you.
Thank you. 심판. 셋, 3, 3, 4, 9, 3, 4, 9, 6 3, 4, 9, 6, 2
Ratchet's password. Here it is. Score. 1 for the...
내가 우울할 때면 꺼져. 아니, 근데 그 정도로 그 영역이 나쁘지 않아요. 네, 그 정도는 아니야. 이걸 찍어가지고 입력해야 될 정도는 아니야. 계좌번호는 설마 그래. 계좌번호 82664였죠.
The number of Ratchet's safety deposit box. At
4346.
I should let Mr. Poirot know. I was able to access Mr. Wadi's computer. I have Ratchet's safety deposit box number.
Excellent.
I think I've discovered Ratchet's safety deposit box passcode.
Well done, Mademoiselle Locke. That may be useful to Mademoiselle Locke or me. I'll take a photo.
와벨탑. 이건 또 뭔가요? 아, 설마 알았어. 흰색 체스판 사진. 어유 50개월 구독 감사합니다. 껴버렸. 자, A8, A7, B7. A8, A7, B7, 흰색. A6, A6, D8, D5. 다시 A6, D8, D5. A6, D8. 하나.
I think this belongs here.
오케이. 으악! 잠깐 비번 알았지, 찾았지. 그러고 보니까 금고 비번 4346. 아니잖아. 지금 이 순간 마법처럼 날 묶어왔던
Staring at the clock won't help. What?
퍼즐을 벗어 던진다. 지금 내겐 빡침만 있을 뿐.
The peculiar habit some people have of displaying things on the door of their refrigerator. I've just sent a photo to you in case it might help you.
버벨탑 풀어야 되나 봐요. 네. 또 그거 아니면 없지 뭐.
Time is not on my side.
버벨탑. 아까 그 사진 못 보낸다고 하지 않았니? 잠깐 이거 3496인가? 안전금고. 아이씨. 근데 제 바벨탑 사진은 어디 있는 거야? 미쳤냐고. 오이. 이거 이제 맞잖아. 이쪽이냐 설마. 이거다. 열쇠.
A key. I wonder if it will fit the desk drawer.
어디에 책상에 대체 아무리 보안 목숨을 위협하는 상황이셨다지만 이렇게까지 보안을 해야 할 필요가 있어? 이렇게까지 해야 되고.
Those indentations are from the sheet of the notepad that was on top. This is great. All those mystery movies I watched as a kid. I know what to do.
긁어. 싹 긁어. 아니 뭐 이거 뭘 적은 게 너무 난잡하게 적어놨는데? 제발 안 돼.
I'll send a picture of this to Poirot.
알았다. 찾았네, 드디어.
I sent you a photo of doodles I found on a notepad. I hope it can help you.
I hope so.
저
as
기호가
well.
힌트 맞습니다. 아니 근데 사진을 보아야 볼 수가 있어야 뭘 찾지. 일, 이, 삼, 사, 오, 육, 칠. 일, 이, 삼, 사, 오, 육, 칠.
It looks
Okay.
like a safe key.
경고 열쇠.
We finally found it. Good news. I have found the key to Ratchet's safe.
Perfect. We're running out of time. Do we have everything?
Perfect.
I have the key to the safety deposit box.
I have the number of the box.
And we have the passcode. I'm on my way. Time to rob a bank.
Sorry to keep you waiting. I haven't heard from Monsieur Waddy. You'll have to reschedule with him.
This is quite annoying. I'll have to reschedule.
Absolutely. I hope I have been of service.
You have no idea. That was fast. We do this as planned?
Yes, I am, Monsieur Ratchet. But with the bank's questionable policy, I do not expect anyone to ask.
Right. Absolute secrecy regarding their clients. The last Swiss bank of its kind.
자, 레치스의 금고에 들어가기.
Another golden mustache to treasure.
내가 이 범죄자 새끼
I
금고까지
still
털어야
haven't heard from Mr. Waddy.
금고에 뭐
We'll
들었는지까지
have
알아야
to make
돼?
do without him. Now that my friend is here, it's his box we want to access.
And the clock is ticking. I trust there is no problem.
No problem at all. May I have your safety deposit box number?
4346.
May I see your key? Do you know your passcode?
Yes. Mademoiselle will be able to accompany me? No names, of course.
Of course. I'll open the door. Go down the stairs. The guard will accompany you.
Please leave your personal belongings in this bin and then go through the portal.
다다다다.
I'll open it for you.
Open it for you.
No, it's
Huh?
not
잠깐만.
this.
4346이구나. 아유, 그래 미안하다.
At last we reach our goal.
34 아이씨. 딴딴딴.
Now I will insert my key, if you allow.
Thank you.
Thank you. 자, 과연 이 안에 있는 것은요 무엇인가요? 돈. 야, 이제 우리 부자다. 야,
I'll be
짐
by
싸
the door
빨리.
should you need any assistance.
도망치자.
At last.
I suspect the effort will be worth it. This collection of various personal items. Do you know what they are, Detective Locke?
I do, Mr. Poirot. God help me, I do. Souvenirs. The trophies serial killers take from their victims to remind them of their kills. Ratchet wasn't just a kidnapper.
No, indeed. He was a monster. For every soul Ratchet claimed, even
my
more
best
are
friend.
suffering.
여기서 이제 증거.
Diamond.
A
다이아몬드.
fortune. Crime does pay.
No, mademoiselle. This time it was the criminal who finally paid.
샤키.
I wonder who this keychain belonged to. Certainly not Ratchet.
딴딴딴.
I wonder who this keychain belonged to. Certainly not Ratchet. Another bracelet. Another victim.
Another trophy. And then there's the one that we already found.
Another
Suzanne's
trophy.
red glasses. The one on the
Traitor.
left. Ratchet.
Whoever he is with, their friendship seems over.
The build. The hair. It could be Noah, his partner in Daisy's kidnapping.
Here they had a falling out.
He knew the serial numbers on the banknotes could be traced. The rest of the Armstrong ransom money. The serial numbers match. He knew the serial numbers on the banknotes could be traced. The rest of the Armstrong ransom money. The serial numbers match.
벤지. MC.
The real journalist Michael Clark. Ratchet would have needed to kill him to assume his identity. He took this ring as his trophy.
Another victim. Another trophy. A woman. We may never know her name. You were lucky, mademoiselle, when you met him at that cabin in the forest, alone.
How many victims do you think Ratchet had?
Too many. Another trophy. We may never know how many people he killed.
4 years of investigation. It's all over. I finally have the last piece of evidence that Ratchet was Daisy's kidnapper and murderer.
More than that, you have helped unmask a serial killer responsible for so many deaths.
But even with all this, we're no closer to solving Ratchet's murder.
On the contrary, mademoiselle, everything. It is coming together. Don't you agree, detective?
What?
The damaged photograph.
It could be Noah. You think Noah killed Ratchet for revenge?
The train.
What about the train?
I know how a killer could vanish without leaving a trace in the snow.
Wings?
Camouflage. The trophies.
Poirot, we have a train to catch.
Not just a train, Detective Locke. We have a murderer to catch.
갑자기 인종이 바뀐다거나. 드디어 끝이 나나. 생각보다 길었는데 게임 볼륨이 좀 있네. 추가 스토리가 있어가지고.
Poirot, enough! You have kept us in suspense ever since we left Lausanne.
Forgive me, my friend. Detective Locke and I needed the time to put the last pieces of the puzzle in their proper places.
I'll fill in where I can, but this is Mr. Poirot's show.
I confess,
네,
I can't
안녕하세요.
help. But I feel a certain déjà vu.
You are correct, Doctor. We have been here before. However, without you, we wouldn't have been able to reach the true
돈
conclusion
좀씩
of this
어차피
story.
죽은 사람 돈인데 돈 좀씩만 챙기지 범죄 수익이고.
My friends, your attention, please. I hope you have finished your dessert. You have every right to think the solution to the murder of Ratchet is a closed book. You are wrong. I, Poirot, admit that I was wrong. There is a final chapter.
아, 네, 이제 소설 부분 이후에도 추가 스토리가 하나 더 있네요. 네. 그런 식으로 해서 나온 것 같아요.
Monsieur Poirot will explain.
Most of us naturally expect a journey by train to proceed in an orderly fashion from station to station. But this journey has gone off the rails. A comfortable journey, which should have been restful, turned out to be quite a challenge for my little grey cells. I beg your indulgence. I know it will be painful, but I must update you on the strange turn the Ratchet murder investigation has taken. I had 2 hypotheses, as you recall. A stranger boarded the train in Vinkovsky, killed Ratchet, and then exited the train unobserved. That was the first possibility. The second solution gave us 12 jurors who condemned Ratchet to death for the kidnapping and murder of Daisy Armstrong. My friend, Book, properly chose the first solution for the authorities. However, thanks to Dr. Constantine here, a 13th stab wound was discovered, throwing that solution into disarray. Moreover, the words of a witness called into question the chronology of the night of the murder upon which the first two solutions were based. Detective Locke?
자, 레칫 와디과 와디의 살인범. 자, 살인이 벌어진 밤에 있었던 일들의 의혹을 제기한 증인은 누구였지?
No, Mr. Book's testimony confirmed that the murderer was still on the train after Venice. That's all.
미시.
Michael admitted to having been absent several times during the night. His absence therefore gave multiple opportunities for a 13th murderer to slip into Ratchet's room before the other 12 jurors lined up to stab him.
You are saying the man Ratchet was when we...
Yes, you executed a man who was already dead. But there were other suspects that night.
Other suspects? Who?
They stand before you. Mr. Fauché, Mr. Maury, and Ms. Nielsen. And they all also had a hole in their stories about their movements that night. Mr. Poirot?
Most of you don't know it, but there was a second murder in Venice.
Mein Gott, another murder.
The victim was a man named Aziz Wadi, a banker in Geneva who was on the payroll of Ratchet. He looked after the money Ratchet obtained from the Armstrong ransom. Ratchet needed money and arranged to meet Mr. Wadi in Venice. One of these three knew about that money. Now, each of them had an alibi of a sort, but if any of their alibis was a lie, that person had time to murder Monsieur Wadi, Monsieur Fauché, Mademoiselle Nielsen, and Monsieur Maury. One of you murdered Ratchet and Monsieur Wadi.
Are you kidding? I pour drinks for our guests. I don't murder them.
It's nonsense.
You are accusing me because of my knives?
But why would one of my employees kill Ratchet?
아니요.
The killer's motive for killing Ratchet was revenge, but not
Revenge.
for Daisy's death. The motive for Aziz Wadi's murder was also revenge. Mr. Wadi was helping Ratchet.
Ratchet had an accomplice in the kidnapping named Noah. They kidnapped Daisy together. Ratchet stored the ransom money in a Swiss bank that protected anonymous clients. He forced Monsieur Wadi to watch over the money. Once enough time had passed, Ratchet felt it was safe to have Monsieur Wadi bring him cash whenever Ratchet needed it.
The serial numbers of the bills would still be in a file, but no one would be actively checking it.
Precisely. But Ratchet didn't just keep the ransom in his safety deposit box. There was something much worse.
피해자들의 전입.
There was something much worse than Daisy's ransom money in that safety deposit box. During her investigation, Detective Locke found evidence proving that Ratchet was what is known as a trophy killer. He kept souvenirs of his crimes. We found trophies in the safety deposit box. There were others in a cabin Ratchet used in the Berkshire Mountains, including a beloved toy of little Daisy's.
If I'd have known that, I would have cut the bastard's head off.
뜨르든. 레치츠의 살인 동기를 제공했을 만한 물건 두 가지.
I must admit I'm not right this time. Think, Poirot. That is not a good answer.
이게 아니야?
This is wrong. But I'm never far from the truth.
아,
No, no, no.
아니 이것도 아니라
Not good.
가족 발진가.
I'm right again. That happens to me a lot. The bracelet found in the safety deposit box was also on Noah's wrist in a photograph. It's
노아도
obvious
죽였다.
Ratchet killed Noah. And therefore, at last, I can tell you with absolute certainty who the murderer of Ratchet and Monsieur Wadi is.
바로 범인은 바로 너.
That doesn't prove anything.
바로
Mademoiselle Nielsen has the same bracelet as the one found in the safety deposit box in Jin.
노아의
A
연인이었나
trophy
보네.
from a victim of Ratchet.
얘는
Noah.
얘대로.
Having a similar bracelet doesn't prove anything.
Yes, that might be true. If there were not an inscription on it.
Mr. Poirot, you're right. The bracelet looks similar to mine, but I have no idea what the marks on it mean. I just like the design.
The marks are not random, mademoiselle. These are special bracelets. They are called Morse code bracelets. Because, well, you know why.
모스부.
The marks are Morse code. Happily, I learned Morse when I was a young man doing my service for the Belgian army.
딴딴. 프레저.
Et voilà. On the bracelet found in Ratchet's safety deposit box was the name Freya
프레이야.
in Morse code. Your first name. It belonged to your father, Noah.
아버지.
Noah Nielsen. Let's stop playing this little game, mademoiselle. What does yours say?
연인이 아니라 아버지였구나.
It
딸이었고.
says father. Ratchet. That bastard. He kept my father's bracelet as a trophy.
Thank you. I have to admit your timing for Ratchet's murder was perfect. Do you mind if I continue?
Would it matter? Go ahead. You've earned the right to crow.
I do not make bird sounds, mademoiselle. I take no pleasure in this.
우 쓰레기.
You drugged Ratchet's dessert to ensure he would be unconscious when you went to his room. You stole a knife from Monsieur Maury. If it was identified as the murder weapon, he would be accused. You knew Pierre Michel would leave the train for a smoke whenever it was stopped at a station. At Vinkovsky, you waited until he was on the station platform. Then, you carefully made your way along the first-class corridor to Ratchet's room. You entered Ratchet's room with the pass key, accessible to all employees in the crew quarters. You stabbed Ratchet at midnight.
But that knife, where is it?
Probably thrown out of Ratchet's window before the train left the station. A thorough search after the snow melts should turn it up.
아니 그 수색을 경찰이 해야 되잖아. 경찰만 개고생하겠네.
Then, you carefully returned to the crew quarters, replaced the passkey, and returned to your poker game. Et voilà. The affair was not so complicated in the end. But what made the crime seem more complex? Well...
It was us.
Exactly. The 12 jurors
이미
proceeded
뒤졌는데
to carry
한
out
발씩 또
their
꽂은 거야.
far more complicated plan, literally in the dark, without realizing that the man was already dead.
Speaking only for myself, of course.
이렇게 좀
But I
비틀었네요.
believe we would have invited you to join us.
Ms. Nielsen, you killed Ratchet because he killed your father. Your motive is crystal clear. But why did you kill Aziz Wadi?
It's because of Aziz that my father died. My father knew Aziz was the only one with access to Ratchet's safe, so he convinced Aziz to steal the money from the safety deposit box. But Aziz was too afraid of Ratchet. Instead, he betrayed my father by reporting him to Ratchet. Obviously, Ratchet then murdered
통수를
my father.
쳐가지고 아버지가
Aziz was
죽었다.
just as guilty of my father's death as Ratchet.
Ratchet was the worst of humanity. But Monsieur Wadi, if you knew his story...
My father is dead because of him.
I will not debate the point with you, mademoiselle. He had done nothing to justify his death. I do not see any extenuating circumstances that should allow you to escape justice. You will be arrested at the Gare de Lyon when we arrive in Paris.
Judge and jury are you, Monsieur Poirot? And you get away with it. It must be nice. But think of this. I know what you did. What you all did.
She's right. She could turn us all in.
Relax. Hector, is it? Your secret is safe with me. I'm not going to jail. Farewell, Poirot. Enjoy your victory.
자, 설마 여러분, 저는 떠납니다. 안녕히 계세요.
No, Freya, don't jump. You're going to die.
I've made my choice. We'll let fate decide.
No!
이 추위에 물속에? 안녕히 계세요, 여러분. 잠깐, 누가 봐도 차 강이 열었는 것 같은데? 아니, 물이 있었으면 모르겠는데.
She jumped off the train. Even if she hit the water, considering the height, I doubt she survived. And with this tunnel, either way, she's gone, Poirot. I still can't believe what happened. 13 people took revenge on the same person. This investigation is so incredible. It almost looks like a detective story.
It would surely be a bestseller. It is true that this case will remain as one of the most important investigations of my career.
My only regret will be that I couldn't bring Ratchet to justice, but I can finally close this chapter of my life.
Your determination paid off.
과연
You can
살아남을
be
수
proud
있을까?
of yourself.
I think we'll be arriving in Paris soon.
If you will pardon me, Detective Locke, I have to settle a few details with Monsieur Bouc before we arrive.
Please, go ahead.
I still can't believe Freya was the killer. She never even cheated when we played poker.
She used too much sugar.
Nonsense! Her desserts were divine!
Unfortunately, her actions were not so divine.
There you are, my friend.
Bouc, I have a favor to ask.
Anything.
묘하네.
When we arrive in Paris, will you speak to the police? I would rather keep a low profile.
But why?
Bouc, my first solution was incorrect.
Nonsense! The nuttier the mystery became, the greater your brilliance.
Please.
Very well, if you
Please.
insist.
I want to thank you, gentlemen, for your service. The cuisine. Under difficult conditions, you surpass the reputation of the Orient Express.
That is true. I look forward to seeing you again abroad, Monsieur Poirot. I promise, not all of our trips are this eventful.
Princess Dragomirov would like a word with you, Monsieur Poirot. It is important. She is waiting for you in her compartment.
When a princess summons me, how can I refuse?
자, 공작 부인씨 방으로 갑시다. 또 뭐가 남아있진 않겠지? 이 정도까지 했는데.
Count Andrény, how is the Countess?
Much better now that it's all over. I misjudged you, Poirot.
And I you.
There is something else about my wife you should know. Why I am so overprotective.
She is pregnant.
You are quite the detective.
Actually, Dr. Constantine told me. She admitted as much when he was attending to her.
If it's a girl, we are going to name her Daisy. If it's a boy,
Hercule?
he'll be stuck with Rudolph. It's a family tradition.
I wish you and all of your family much happiness.
Thank you.
My daughter, my great friend, and I wanted to talk to you one last time. I speak on behalf of the entire Armstrong family, as well as those close to us. You have shown compassion. We know your reputation, and we understand that your choice was not easy for you. We are all the more grateful. Thank you.
Congratulations, my dear. You managed to say the word thank you, although he did manage to put us through quite a lot.
You have given us all closure and some peace of mind.
You should know that I regret nothing. If this Freya Nielsen person had not been involved, I would have done it again.
Someone told me the Stalinists were frightened of you. I believe them.
The country of my birth breeds its share of brutes and bullies, but also some of the greatest intellectual and artistic minds the world has ever known. I pray that one day we will again be remembered for that.
I share your hope, Princess.
And of course, with the real murderer of that man out there somewhere.
솔직히
we
죽지
are no
않았을까?
longer guilty of
거기서 뛰어내렸는데.
much. Correct?
Princess, don't push your luck too far. If you'll excuse me, I have some packing to do. Ladies?
여행 가방 싸러 가기. 어쨌든 이 여행도 끝이 나는구만. 생각보다 길었다. 딴.
At the end of this investigation, I still have my doubts. Did I make the right choice with the 12 self-proclaimed jurors?
아니요.
I will always have doubts about my decision, but I intend to move on. As for Mademoiselle Nielsen, what would I have done if she had not escaped?
자,
Having everyone arrested, I ignore the extenuating circumstances of the murders. What a dilemma. Judges often take motive into consideration when deciding the sentence for a crime. You are not a judge. Your job is to establish the facts, which you have done.
그래 뭐 이제
Case
범인
has
알아냈으면 되지.
been solved. Another already awaits you. It is the reason
일단
you are betrayed.
모르겠어요. 스타오션을 먼저 하지 않을까 싶은데.
Time to move on.
뭐 일단 내일은 1부 2부 나눠서 할 수도 있고. 네. 난 좀 길게 할 수도 있고. 솔직히 제가 잘 못했죠. 안녕 얘들아. 잘 있어 얘들아. 안녕 빠이빠이. 너희들의 후일담을 하고 듣고 싶진 않아. 그래 안녕. 빠이빠이 빠이빠이야. 안녕. 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 안녕 안녕. 대머리 안녕.
Ah, Poirot. Mission accomplished. I have reported to the police that Freya Nielsen killed Ratchet and that she escaped. They're issuing an international arrest warrant. There's a canal that runs alongside the tracks where she jumped from the train. But they say there's little chance she survived. The police have questioned all of the passengers and crew, so for now, they are free to leave.
I gave them the results of my preliminary autopsy, and they have the report from the Venetian authorities. They were arguing about jurisdiction when I left.
Thank you, Doctor. You have been of inestimable help.
A fascinating case. I'm pleased I could assist you.
Mr. Poirot, it seems our paths part here. It was an honor and a pleasure to work with you.
And I am with you, Detective Locke. The case would have been impossible without your tenacity and dedication to finding the truth. You also proved to be an able con artist in Geneva.
You too. Thank you for everything. I'll never
오늘
forget you.
후속작이나 다른 작품들이 나온다면
always
나올라나.
treasure our collaboration.
Well, that's that. I'm hungry. Let's go to the Wagon Rouge restaurant. They make an excellent leg of lamb.
But it's only 5:34 p.m. Is food all you really think about, my friend?
I'm the one inviting you. You've well deserved it.
I'm warning you, I'm not going to obtain for you a secret recipe this time.
Poirot, they make a chocolate mousse that is so creamy. It must have a secret ingredient in it.
The last recipe came from a murderer.
But it was sublime.
그렇다. 짜라짜. 아니 왜 스텝롤을 이 시정지하는 새끼가 어딨다고 스텝롤에 시정지를 넣어놔. 어? 건너뛰기를 넣어놔야지. 아유 정말. 뭐 그래도 스텝롤이 길진 않네. 그리고 한 통의 편지가. 너 지금 프레이야 닐슨에 이제 너 지금 잡으러 간다. 개객기야. 기대해. 이런 거지. 난 살아남았어.
Dear Poirot, I didn't really have time to say goodbye when we parted. I thought I had beaten the greatest detective in the world.
결국
But you unmasked me. I still had my revenge, though. I even managed to help myself to a small amount of cash from Waddy's bag before you interrupted me in Venice. It will be enough to settle somewhere in a quiet little town where I will create delicacies for appreciative clients. You won't hear from me again, nor will Book get any more of my recipes. Oh, and one last thing. You may not think so, but I truly believe Ratchet and Waddy got their just desserts. Regards, F.
You, mademoiselle, are entirely too pleased with yourself. You give clues no one could follow, unless they are Hercule Poirot.
자 이렇게 해서 오리엔트 특급 살인 끝이 나네요. 일단 원작에서 나온 그 살인 결말 트릭을 하면서 추가로 한 수세 시간 분량, 3-4시간 분량 더 해가지고 이제 게임 오리지널 뭐 스토리도 좀 들어가 있는 것 같고 괜찮았습니다. 네. 뭐 이제 아가사 크리스티, 그러니까 뭐 셜록 홈즈 같은 건 이제 워낙에 이제 자주 게임화가 됐었는데 아가사 크리스티 작품 같은 경우는 상대적으로 그 유명세나 이제 인지도에 비해서는 좀 덜한 게 아닌가, 게임화가. 뭐 이거 좀 잘 팔려가지고 또 다음 작품 나왔으면 좋겠네요. 자, 어쨌든 이렇게 해서 끝.